When my wife, Annika, first told me about her company's annual gala, I pictured the usual corporate gathering: over-decorated hotel ballroom, waiters balancing trays of champagne, managers pretending to like one another while secretly competing for promotions. I wasn't particularly excited to go, but Annika wanted me there. She had poured her heart into a project that saved her department millions, and her boss had praised her in front of the entire team. This night was important to her. She wanted me by her side, not because she needed me, but because she wanted me to share in her success. So I put on my best suit and went, telling myself I'd smile politely, shake hands, and play the part of the supportive husband. What I didn't expect was to be dragged into a silent battle of dominance with her arrogant boss, a battle he thought he could win easily. He had no idea who he was dealing with. The ballroom shimmered with chandeliers and polished marble floors. Executives clustered in groups, glasses of wine in hand, while their spouses nodded politely beside them. Annika looked breathtaking, her black evening gown accentuating her elegance, her confidence making heads turn as she entered the room. I watched her colleagues light up when they saw her. She had earned their respect through sheer hard work, long hours, and brilliance. Then we reached him. Raj Malhotra, the man who had power over Annika's career. He was tall, broad-shouldered, with that oily confidence of someone who believed he owned every room he walked into. His smile never touched his eyes, and when he looked at me, it was like he was already measuring me for a place beneath him. "Annika!" he boomed, wrapping an arm around her shoulders as though she were a prize he was showing off. "And this must be your husband." "Arjun," I said evenly, extending my hand. Raj gripped it too hard, the way men do when they want to prove something. His smirk widened. Well, the mysterious husband. "For a while I thought Annika made you up." The people around him laughed, though the joke wasn't funny. It wasn't meant to be. It was a test. I met his gaze calmly. "Some myths are real," I said, holding his stare until he let go of my hand. As the evening went on, I realized that Raj wasn't done. He kept circling back to me, tossing little barbs into conversations, probing for weaknesses. Men like him thrive on dominance. They need to make others smaller to feel taller. "So, Arjun," he asked loudly during one conversation, swirling his whiskey, "what do you do?" Besides being Annika's +1, of course. Another ripple of laughter spread through his entourage. I sipped my drink. "I run a firm. Infrastructure projects, municipal contracts, renewable energy, sustainable builds." Raj arched his brows in mock surprise. "Infrastructure? So, basically construction?" "Basically building the things people like you take for granted," I said, my voice even. His smirk faltered for just a second before he plastered it back on, but the real insult came later. Raj stood to give a toast, glass raised high. He spoke about growth, about leadership, about teamwork. Then his eyes flicked to me across the room. "And let's not forget the unsung heroes tonight, our supportive spouses. After all, not everyone can shine like Annika here. Some are content to stand in the background." This time the laughter was louder. My wife's face burned red. She squeezed my hand so tightly I could feel her nails dig in. Raj had not only tried to humiliate me, but in doing so had humiliated her. That was when I decided he needed to learn a lesson. I didn't raise my voice. I didn't storm across the room. I simply waited until the crowd broke into smaller groups again, then stepped closer to him. My tone was casual, almost friendly. "You know, Raj, I've been following your company's growth. Expansion in the past 2 years has been impressive," he grinned, flattered. "Good leadership," he said, puffing up slightly. "Yes," I nodded, although I did notice something odd. "Those consulting fees you've been paying every quarter. They've tripled since last year, haven't they?" His smile froze just for a heartbeat, long enough for me to know I'd struck the right nerve. "Excuse me?" he said, still trying to laugh it off. "Nothing personal," I said lightly, taking a sip of my drink. "I just know that companies who pay out huge sums to shell consulting firms tend to attract the wrong kind of attention. Regulatory boards, auditors, you know how it is. Would be a shame for an otherwise successful business to deal with. Complications." The group around him went silent. Raj's jaw tightened. His eyes narrowed in calculation. "Are you threatening me?" he asked quietly, his smile gone. I shook my head. "Not at all. Just making an observation. I deal with municipal contracts all the time. I've seen careers collapse over smaller irregularities. Funny thing about paper trails, they don't stay buried forever." The silence spread. Executives nearby began whispering to each other. Raj forced a laugh, but his confidence was gone. He changed the subject quickly, but the seed had been planted. The whispers had begun. Annika squeezed my hand under the table later that night, her eyes wide. "What did you do?" she whispered. "Nothing," I said softly. I just reminded him that everyone has skeletons, and some of us know where to look. In the weeks that followed, the atmosphere at Annika's office shifted. Rumors circulated about Raj's consulting fees. Questions were asked. An anonymous folder of documents made its way to the compliance office. I never admitted to anyone where it came from, but I knew exactly what was in it. Inflated invoices, shell companies, irregular payments. Things Raj thought were hidden. Things that weren't hard to find if you knew where to look. 2 months later, the company announced a formal investigation. Raj was placed on administrative leave. His name appeared in the business section of the paper, attached to words like probe and irregularities. The same people who had laughed at his jokes now avoided him. His empire, built on arrogance and shadows, began to crumble. And Annika? She was promoted. Her project was recognized, her leadership praised. For the first time, she walked into the office without the weight of his shadow looming over her. People often ask if I enjoyed it, if I got satisfaction from watching his downfall. The truth is, I didn't do it for enjoyment. I did it because Raj humiliated my wife, and because men like him believe they can get away with anything. He thought he could mock me, undermine me, and by extension, her. What he didn't realize is that I've spent my entire life building things that last. I know how to dismantle them, too. Raj underestimated me because I didn't posture, didn't raise my voice, didn't need to prove myself in the moment. But that's the thing about quiet men. We play the long game. And in the long game, arrogance always collapses under its own weight. That night, at her company's work party, Raj thought he was dealing with just another spouse. He didn't realize he was dealing with someone who knew how to turn whispers into storms. He had no idea who he was dealing with.